it's dumb for so many reasons, and it's
But
literally
we're live right now, so let's
yeah.
do the.
Sorry. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mystery.
And I'm Dalton Mortimer, the Authenticator, and we have the Duality of Man, and bureaucrats mad again for the checks notes 20th time this month. We're not
Yeah,
even through the first month of the term yet. Oh my god. We still
yeah.
have
And for a
one more day to
situation,
go before
yeah,
before it's been a month.
yeah, and the situation that they're upset about literally isn't even Trump's fault because it happened in Canada. So we're going to be talking about the Toronto plane crash, and it's good that nobody was hurt. And I'm actually surprised by that miracle because the plane was literally turned upside down after it hit the ground. But yeah, nobody was hurt, which is good. But you know, the current theory right now is that it was some sort of pilot error, which is not Trump's fault, or there was a problem with the landing gear, which is again is not Trump's fault. Some people say that it could have been the weather, which again not Trump's fault, or maybe there's a problem with the runways. So again, not Trump's fault.
Yeah, it's funny how they want this entirely to be at the feet of Trump, and nobody is mentioning that Justin Trudeau has been Justin Trudeauing for the last decade or so.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like if you're going to put blame on this for somebody, it's either the company or Canada.
But that would
But
imply that the institutions are the solution to everything. And Dev would have an aneurysm if that happened.
yeah, so
You must maintain the bureaucracy no matter how ideologically and institutionally captured and competency crisis to hell it becomes. Because the process is the important thing, God damn it! Never mind any actual meaningful substantive things.
yeah, they blamed Trump for that other crash, which was a midair collision between a helicopter and a plane. But that was also not Trump's fault. That also appeared to be some sort of pilot error. But also, you know, they're talking about Trump cutting people from the FAA. Um, but Trump's cuts did not include air traffic controllers, and they were already having a staffing shortage for years under Joe Biden, and the Biden administration didn't address this. I
Ah,
didn't
but
even
you
know
see,
there.
he did the paperwork correctly, and therefore he did nothing wrong. Because reasons.
I didn't. I didn't even know that there was a staffing shortage under the uh, FAA with the Biden administration. Like, I don't think anybody knew. This is the first time this is coming up because there was a massive incident, and so now everybody's blaming Trump, even though it was literally not his fault. Like,
Well,
when that plane
it's like the
crashed, I
fucking
believe he was in
eggs
office for
thing.
like
They're just so desperate for a win that they will literally take anything, whether or not it makes them look like idiots in the process.
So I have this video by Nexnor. He talks about this, so let's play it.
Yep. Continue.
Americans and soon to be Americans. There is quite the tragic situation that just happened, but nobody died. So I decided it is ethically and morally imperative for me to milk it for content because, as you know, I will bring the chaos to your mouth for you to munch on this day. I'm not trying to be the main character of anybody's story. I am the side character that brings you goofs, gaffs, and laughs. Now, a plane crashed in Toronto. I know it's pretty fucked up. Not going to try to sit here and be like, don't, pretty bad. It's awful. I condemn plane crashes, okay? I've been condemning plane crashes since 9/11, goddammit. All the leftist media news sites are blaming Trump on the plane crash. And I immediately realized, you know what? I am going to be that one dumb fuck that's going to make a video to talk about this. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, people died, bro. Nobody died. There are a couple people that got injured. And again, it's pretty fucking awful that this happened. But you're not coming to me for ethical integrity. You're coming to me for chaos. There was a plane crash. It's very sad. I personally am very sad. Nobody died. Everyone lived. They're all alive. Every single one.
And yet somehow, Nux, we get more ethical integrity from the fool who knows he's the fool than from any of the fools who are damn sure convinced they are fucking Hierophants.
Yeah. I've also seen people complain that the airport, like the airport runway in Canada, had snow on it, which should have been cleared. Now, again, like I'm no pilot, I'm no air traffic controller, so I'm not sure exactly how this happened. Like, but from everything that I've seen, like I've seen the video of the crash, and from what I can see, like everything was fine until the plane tried to touch down with the wheels, and that's when everything went off the rails. So like this in no way could be Donald Trump's fault. And like they're making fools out of themselves by trying to pin this on him. And anybody reasonable can see what they're doing because they've been doing it literally for almost a decade now.
Like I said, I think it's just because they've been taking so many inarguable licks for the last, 29 days or so, that they are just desperate for anything they can pin on Trump. Anything at all. It's like the eggs thing. Doesn't matter that the fourfold pricing has been a problem since COVID. We're blaming it on Trump because he was in office for 5 minutes, and therefore, and he didn't wave his hand and magically fix it instantaneously. So that we can blame him for somehow.
I mean, the Democrat Party has bigger much bigger problems than trying to make Trump look bad. I mean, there was a report that a lot of their biggest donors are going to stop giving them money until they actually get their shit together. So they need to stop reading and actually think about what the hell they need to do to make people actually want to vote for them.
Yeah, but the thing is, they think that they have the moral legitimacy by definition, and so if we're not reeing hard enough and calling him a fascist hard enough, then we just need to ree all the more frantically and all the louder, so that people finally start taking us seriously. It doesn't even occur to them that that is the very reason why they're not being taken seriously. Their entire worldview is predicated on the assumption that they have moral legitimacy by definition. And even though everyone and their dog keeps telling them in no uncertain terms, you have no moral legitimacy, you've lost the moral legitimacy for almost a decade now, they will not hear it because they keep thinking that anyone who tells them they don't have moral legitimacy is morally illegitimate and therefore needs to be silenced.
You know, I was a bit concerned because usually the party who's in charge during the midterm elections usually loses some ground in the Congress, but like they have learned literally nothing from a defeat where they lost by a significant margin.
Well, it's not just that. To his credit, and JD Vance's credit, and Elon Musk's credit, and everybody else's credit, the administration has in the last month gotten more accomplished than the three administrations that preceded it, and considerably more. I don't think I've ever seen a political administration be this productive in my life, and I'm almost freaking 30. Which that shouldn't be as much of a win for Trump as it is, but that's because it shouldn't be the norm that politicians literally sit on their bureaucratic asses for their entire terms and accomplish sweet fuck all. But it is, and therefore the guy who actually managed to do the things he was put in office to do looks really good by comparison.
Yeah, but the thing is, they don't actually believe that they have to keep their promises because they've made promises to lots of people, including their progressive base, and they haven't kept any of them.
Yeah, I will remind everyone at home for the 500th time, but I was and am a Bernie bro. I am a broadly libertarian social democrat in the Scandinavian style. And yet most of my friends are right wing because the right wing is unfortunately the only wing of politics at the moment who doesn't demonize populism by definition. We could resolve this imbalance by solving that situation, just like a lot of this probably could have been forestalled had they just bitten the bullet and run Bernie in 2016. But we don't live in that world. We live in the world where the right is the only side treating populism like it's a moral thing, let alone a valid thing. And the only answer from the other side is you will eat your corporately enforced bureaucratic slop and like it. And if you don't like it, then you're a demon and immoral and a fascist and every other negative word we can unload from Portobello Road on your ass.
All right, so I'm gonna hit play again.
Yep.
Single man died, and you know what? It's time to milk it for content. They're all blaming Trump, and I have to make fun of them. A plane crashed in Canada by Canadians in Canada, by the way, and they're blaming Trump. They're all blaming Trump. They're all coming here together to blame Trump. And honestly, this is the funniest thing in the world. Because, dude, the amount of leftist crash outs that instead of actually talking about how sad it is that, like, you know, a plane crashed and shit. No. It's all about Orange Man bad. So Trump's press
They are
secretary
so desperate
responded,
for
"Dog,
any
you
win
don't
at all."
understand the insanity.
What'd you say?
I said they are so desperate for any win at all. They don't care how many times they basically slip on a banana peel and make fools of themselves in the interim.
They could get a win by having reasonable criticisms, but like all they're reading is just making people annoyed with them.
Again, because they presuppose that they are the valid ones, and so anyone who isn't isn't engaging in the 2 minutes hate, gets hauled off to Gitmo because we say so.
Yeah, they criticize Trump for stuff that he couldn't possibly have been responsible for, and also look at the things that they defend. Like they're defending violent illegal aliens from deportation, and also they're defending outrageous government spending that's being found by Doge. So like all the things that Americans want to happen, they are against.
And they are surprised that his popularity continues to go up as he manages to do the things he promised he would do upon getting in office. Again, it's been less than a month, and I swear to God, more has been accomplished in the last month than in all of the previous administrations, including Trump's own, since I've been alive. And I don't even blame Trump on that because he was more productive than most politicians even in 2016, and that was when every force of political capital was being waged against him to tie his hands behind his back. So I'm not even blaming him for that.
Not only that, but they're still doing the fear mongering, which at this point is counterproductive because everybody is sick of it. Did you see the?
You should be afraid of the things you like because we say so, and if you don't, then that makes you a bad person.
Did you see the town hall with the people in drag in it?
Oh God. Yes. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
They are not sending their best. Or maybe they are, and that's largely the problem.
Like complaining that Trump is going to start rounding up gay and drag queens, and it's like, just stop doing this ridiculous shit in freaking public. Like if you're gonna dress in drag, like freaking do it in a nightclub. Like
also
behind closed doors.
Also, gay disabled bottom here. I can't help but notice that I remained thoroughly ungassed. So this is the strangest Nazi regime in human history, given that they keep saying I'm going to get gassed, and I can't help but notice that I am not being gassed.
And they behave in the most ridiculous manner, and then wonder why people don't respect them. Because they don't make themselves respectable.
And meanwhile, if you have any sort of sympathies for the left whatsoever, all you can do is hold your head in your hand and go, "This is why we can't have nice things," over and over and over, like it's a freaking Gregorian chant.
All right. Let's go to the video. I'm gonna try to skip ahead until he starts speaking about the crash.
Yep.
Do you realize that if you blame stand here, I am weaponizing a tragedy to look at this shit? Like I think it's important. I think it's important to show you what happened. And the fact that no one died is actually miraculous.
1, 2, 3. See, so it starts to land. I can see the wheels down, and then it touches ground, and then I think the wheels like break and then flame starts coming out of the bottom.
At most, you could maybe blame this on like a
way,
maintenance
and then-
issue with regards to the landing gear, but are you honestly telling me that the like maintenance policies have changed so much in the last month that you want to blame Trump for any laxity in the maintenance issues?
I mean, considering the news that's come out about Boeing in the last couple of years, there's probably a lot
Oh
about
God, Boeing.
maintenance issues that we don't know.
We probably shouldn't mention that because then random red dots will start appearing on our heads, and we will have to go off camera for the foreseeable future.
Good. But yeah, did you see where it flipped over?
I didn't know.
All right, I'm gonna go back a little bit. So
Oh fuck!
or right here.
Oh fuck!
By the way, I don't know why they.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, it's amazing that people survived that. Like, I can't imagine what it was like being a passenger on that flight. Like, just the sheer terror of like the plane crashing and then flipping over.
Unharmed as well. Like nobody was injured, and like
Some people were injured, but nobody died.
okay, so there was in fact injuries. Okay, I didn't know that. But yeah,
Compared to the alternative,
it feels like the kind of thing that you'd only get on like a theme park attraction. It literally is like the airplane equivalent of Twilight Zone Tower of Terror from Disney World.
yeah, it's like a video where a car like flips over like in this like horrible crash, and like miraculously the people in it are still alive.
Yeah, it's either very lucky or an actual positive thing you could say about the way it was handled. But
Yeah.
we can't say that because that is forbidden. You may not speak good things of the Emmanuel Goldstein of the moment. God damn you!
Why they didn't clean the runway? Like, dude, as a Canadian, this is not a lot of snow, and it should have absolutely been cleaned.
Maybe that was a factor as well. Maybe like when it touched ground, it like skid on the snow or ice or something.
Mm-hmm.
At which point it would be the fault of the Canadian airport.
But somehow Justin Trudeau doesn't even get a mention while they're trying to desperately blame Trump for everything that's ever been wrong.
Close up, this is people crawling out. As you can see, the plane is upside down. Insane.
Holy fuck!
Insane.
Holy fuck!
I can't wait for people to.
That is extremely warranted use of expletives.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be that polite. I think it'd be a blue streak a la a sailor at this point.
Yeah, and looking at it, yeah, it's like definitely. I think it was the a problem with the landing gear. Just see from the fire damage on the bottom there.
Mm.
To weaponize a tragedy to blame Trump again. Now, I'm not trying to grandstand here. I am weaponizing a tragedy to make fun of assholes. So I am not better than anyone. But the difference between me and them is I don't make believe I'm better than anyone. Yeah, that's right. I am an asshole, but I'm not the tolerant left. Yeah.
And that ironically makes you several orders of magnitude better than all of the aforementioned Nux. I love your humility, but honestly, if I were you, I would be flexing a little bit here because you actually do have something resembling scruples that we apparently can't expect from anyone at any of the three-letter news networks whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the Democrats. The media is burning down their own credibility as well. And like every time, like they'll do these polls where it shows like Trump has a positive approval rating or Doge has a positive approval rating, and they'll just stand there flabbergasted, not being able to understand why this is happening until somebody on the panel tells them exactly why it's happening, and then they'll start arguing with
And then they go, no, it couldn't possibly be that the world outside of our bubble exists. Our bubble is the only valid bubble in existence, goddamn you.
I am actually glad that they're starting to be replaced by new media. Did you hear that in the White House press briefings there's actually a couple of spots there for like new media?
It's about freaking time that the like new media sphere has been more popular than the old media since like what, 2013?
Yeah. And I believe that the Associated Press was actually kicked out of the press corps because they refused to use Gulf of America instead of Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, so you tried to morally grandstand and the people that were elected by actual people on the ground called your bluff. Neener neener.
Holy
Yeah, I mean it's not required that any of those assholes actually be there. Like that is not a requirement of government.
Yeah, they're treating not being given special treatment like it's a humanity. Like I actually saw people trying to compare the Associated Press being de-authoritated basically with them being like shuffled off to some gulag somewhere, and I'm like, you do understand the difference between giving people actual harmful treatment and refusing to give you special treatment, right? Like,
Yeah,
hello, is this thing on? The absence of
I mean,
special treatment is not the presence of negative treatment. Hello.
yeah, I mean, there are plenty of media organizations that don't have access to the White House press corps. I mean, nobody says that's
And
something that's
several
going to be
ones that
on them.
probably should at this point, like Tim Pool, Joe Rogan, etc.
Yeah, but one agency being kicked out is not the end of free speech in America. Whereas in Germany, actually getting thrown in jail for saying something that that insults someone is absolutely ridiculous.
And or we know that the AFD should have won like half the seats because of how our system works. But we all got together in a room and decided that we're just going to ignore the numbers because fuck you, that's why.
Yeah, they're actively suppressing a rising political party with a lot of support, just because they don't like what they have to say.
And
Never mind the will of the citizens.
and even from a like strategic pragmatic standpoint, that's totally not gonna backfire and Streisand affect the fuck out of them or anything. It's not a well-established norm that people that get censored eventually become increasingly more popular or anything. And that's totally not going to bite you in the ass a decade from now when they are allowed to basically run unopposed because literally everyone else is unpreferable to them.
Yeah, that's exactly how the mustachioed Austrian rose to power in the first place. Like the people were very dissatisfied with the issues of Weimar era Germany, and like the politicians at the time just refused to address the issues that were concerning the citizens, and the citizens were watching their country just sink further and further down into like a pit. And when their issues weren't addressed, it just created more pressure until it eventually exploded in the form of aforementioned mustachioed Austrian.
Yeah, and here's the difference between what we're describing and what Dev thinks, because I have literally seen him say populism is bad because it leads to Weimar Germany, or something to that effect, or it leads to situations like Weimar Germany where there's institutional anarchy. But here's the thing. Weimar Germany doesn't happen because of populism. It happens because populism is suppressed, because the organic will of populism is denied. It's not the presence of populism that creates Weimar Germany. It's the presence of things trying to prevent populism that leads to Weimar Germany, Dev. Populism is in fact the antidote to a Weimar Germany because it is how you forestall a Weimar Germany situation. If you don't want your institutions to crumble into anarchistic fuckery, then you have to keep those institutions moored to what people actually want. And the more you try to morally invalidate and obfuscate and institutionalize anyone who disagrees with you, the harder the backlash is therefore going to be, and the more drastic the end result is going to be. Demonizing populism is, in fact, exactly how you get to a Weimar Germany situation in the fucking first place.
Let's keep going.
Yep.
Fuck. Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, so when Trump caused the snowstorm, that was definitely crazy. I couldn't believe it personally. When Trump walked in, it was like, wow, so little snow here in the 51st state. That's crazy. And then Trump told God to make it snow, and then the plane crashed. Listen, I'm not the one that makes up shit here, but listen.
I mean,
Trump definitely.
It's possible he might have called sticks, but I know he didn't call me, and he didn't call sticks, to the best of my knowledge. So, while altering the weather is in theory a possibility, I doubt that Trump is quite based enough yet to keep people like me or Sticks, Hex, and Hammer on the payroll. Would very much like if that happened. I would very much like to be the literal court wizard of America. That would be a very good day for me. But it hasn't happened yet.
Well, these people who are obsessed with putting everything at Trump's feet, like, even if there was like a rational explanation, like if there was an investigation done and we got the data from the black box and they found out what actually happened, would still somehow find a way to lay it at Trump's feet.
Well, yeah, because they do that thing we were just talking about. Person points out the very reasonable, rational explanation for a thing. No, and how dare you even bring it up? That's not a normal or valid talking point, and therefore we're just going to quietly ignore it, even though it's what everyone at home is thinking.
Yeah. So, Delta Airlines, Trump has been doing a lot to stamp out DEI initiatives in all across the country, but Delta Airlines is, I believe, one of the companies that decided to double down on their diversity.
DEI like a motherfucker, yes.
Yeah, and
almost as if this is bad for your institution or something.
Yeah, there's actually a video. I don't have it, unfortunately, but it's where it's Delta Airlines talking about their unmanned flights with all female cabin crews. And so yeah, Delta Airlines has been going out of their way to hire female pilots. So like, if a female pilot is qualified, then there's no issue. But the question is, like, if you're going out of your way to hire more women pilots, you're probably going further down on the list of people who are qualified.
Yeah, there simply aren't enough Sigourney Weavers from Alien or Karen Murphy from Dresden Files in the world to staff such places. I wish there were. It would be a very much better heterosexual dating market for all my friends if that were the case, I think. But there simply aren't enough Karen Murphys in the world.
Yeah, so I don't know if that necessarily is what happened here, but if they're lowering the quality of standards for their hiring, that could actually absolutely lead to some problems.
Which we know they are prone to do, because that's what they did with the military competency standards and the firefighting competency standards. Do we have, categorical proof that happened with the airline hiring? No, but it's what they've done in comparable circumstances with every other vaunted institution. So are we going to act like it would be out of the norm for them to do that?
They actually made this cringy, like, really bad TikTok video where they try to flex the fact that it's an all women crew. Like it's just really dumb and bad. Like I wish I
Again,
had scenes of cringe.
if every member was the real world equivalent of Karen Murphy, I wouldn't have a problem with this. But unfortunately, there are simply not enough badass women out there. There aren't enough badass men out there either, by the way, before anyone pulls the sexism card. Badasses are in short supply by definition. And that is unfortunate, but we could resolve this by minting more badasses, or we could resolve this by pretending like badassery is not a meaningful qualification.
Caused the snow. That's a fact. All right, objective. Now, Greg made an incredible tweet. The craziest part about the Delta plane crash is that there were 80 people going to Toronto, Canada. Now, this is definitely good insight. I think it's definitely worth looking into this further. I think this is definitely, yes, I'm including memes in an actual tragedy video. All right, this is nuts content. I'm here to put a smile on your face and.
See, there's a comment here that's saying Toronto is larger than Chicago. It is the fourth largest city in North America, after Mexico City, New York, and Los Angeles. The problem isn't the size of the city; it's that why would anybody want to go there?
The problem of major cities becoming third world shitholes in no uncertain terms is more of a problem than the size of said cities. If they were all freaking Wakandan style utopias, I doubt these kind of problems would happen all that much. But they're not. They're open air slums in a lot of cases.
And laugh at idiots. It's what we do. We are the balancing force to this world. So now it gets so much crazier. Let me introduce you to the main antagonist of America, CNN.
That is a great title.
I mean, where is the fucking lie?
I mean, to be fair, if there was going to be a main antagonist of America, it should be not just CNN, but like the cabal of the media.
Yeah, the establishment in general. It's not important that the Republicans or Democrats particularly take L's, but the establishment needs to take several L's.
Yeah. So it's like one head of the Hydra that is trying to destroy the nation.
Yeah, we can't just fixate on one head and ignore the 90 other heads, please. We need to get at the base of the neck and pull a Hercules and cauterize the motherfucker.
Yeah.
These people are butt fucking liars. Last time we covered the mainstream media on this channel, they said that free speech caused the Holocaust. Which might be the single
Stupidest
take of all.
Stupidest and most oblivious, backwards, dick-headed, bizarro world take I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, that take is literally everything I don't like is Hitler.
It is the antimatter of verifiable history. God damn it!
Yeah, like all those free speech book burnings.
Yeah, all of those free speech labor camps with their gas chambers that must have. Do they think that the gas chambers were just like radio broadcast mic chambers? Because for their insinuation to be true, that would basically have to be the case. It would have to be like using language as a sonic weapon and speaking people to death or something. I don't even fucking know how that would work. But that's the level of like satirical absurdist reality we would have to descend into for that to make any sense at all.
Yes, all those non-propaganda films that Goebbels made in the Ministry of Free Speech.
All of those true and accurate headlines by the German press. No, I don't. I don't think that. I don't think any of this holds water. I might be hashtag misinformation derp, but for like all of my life up until this point, it was well understood that wasn't the case. but maybe some new information has come to light.
Okay.
All those German labor camps, they were organizing printing presses or something.
Yes. But God, the phrase, however much you hate the media, you don't hate them enough, becomes truer and truer every time one of these people opens their mouths.
And it's not even the media. The media is just the public face of it. It's the establishment, full stop. It's the bureaucracy. It's the normative institutions, Dev.
All time. That's a previous video that I did. Definitely check it out. It uploaded yesterday. It was pretty great. So anyway, watch this actual skinwalking, face stealing, gene stealer sit here, look at you in the eye, and literally tell you that the Toronto, Canada plane crash that happened in Canada is Trump's fault. Watch the lizard person weaponize this shit.
This is happening against the backdrop of massive cuts across the federal government, including
What massive cuts?
To a government that is not at fault.
Yeah, like this literally had nothing to do with the cuts that Trump was making, because even if you wanted to tie it to cuts in the FAA, it literally happened in another country.
And the company in question made a very public statement about how they were going to go against the FAA's wishes, even then. So you're telling me that the person who said "fuck Trump, we're going to be as anti-Trump as possible" is Trump's fault. That is what you are telling me. It's not as absurd as the previous thing you were telling me, but it is also absurd. It's just to a lesser degree of absurdity than free speech caused the Holocaust. It's a little bit like saying populism caused Weimar Germany, isn't it, Dev?
It is unreasonable to hold a man accountable for the stupidity of his enemies. Like, Trump doesn't have any power over Delta Air. Even if he did, they probably still wouldn't listen to him.
Yeah, they made it very clear that they were taking a stand against him, and that stand resulted in literal upside down planes. Like this is all very bizarro world, you must admit. We are well and truly in the up is down phase of reality, folks. Literally upside down world is where we are at, ladies and gentlemen.
Canada. Huh? Tell me one, bro.
at the FAA.
The FAA was not even remotely related to this entire situation. Literally. It had nothing to do with this. This lady in her next video is going to be insane. Very excited for CNN's next broadcast. Trump invented a time machine, went back in time, and caused the Holocaust with his freedom of speech. Like, what the fuck, lady? What is going on? Are you claiming that Canada's the 51st state in the
Are we saying that wouldn't somehow be plausible with enough media spin, according to these people?
I mean, they'd have to spin more than a particle accelerator, dude. I mean, like, they're already burning out, like, what the last shreds of their credibility.
We're already at the free speech caused the Holocaust phase. I don't know if it's technically possible to go much farther than that without literally collapsing under your own weight.
Yeah. Also, let's not forget that they tried to interview JD Vance about the I don't know if it was CNN specifically, but one media organization tried to interview JD Vance regarding the illegal immigrant deportations and how they're trying to deport people who are supposedly properly vetted, and then Vance pulls the Uno reverse, telling them that somebody who planned an attack on America was supposedly properly vetted, and he's like, at the end of the day, I don't care. I don't want these people in my neighborhood. I don't want the American people to have to suffer them in their neighborhood either, to get them out.
Also, one would assume that if they were properly vetted, they would be properly vetted in the legal immigration system, and therefore wouldn't be illegal by definition, one would think.
Yeah, so the media is dying. and with good reason. Like, it's not even like something that Trump is doing by like making fun of them. Like, they made themselves into a joke, and then Trump is just saying the joke out loud.
The media is dying, and we shall have a rave on their graves, folks.
FAA somehow applies. It literally has nothing to do with it. Canada doesn't use the FAA. All right, so retarded moment, truly retarded moment.
I'm just going to put some up on the screen. Hundreds of FAA employees have been laid off.
You realize the FAA
You
was
are not
employing
accountable for this in
retarded-
any way whatsoever. Fuck off.
Yeah, like they're mentioning like employees at the FAA, U.S. Forest Service, and a bunch of these government cuts. Like, it literally has nothing to do with the U.S. government.
blind people. Okay, and Trump was like, you know what? It's kind of.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Did you see the report where they were giving priority hiring to people with visual impairments, the blind, people with learning disabilities? Like, it was a ridiculous list of like.
We're going to take some people who have neither the visual nor cognitive capability to manage anything, and we're going to put them in charge of literally being the organizing and like stability officers of airports. And we're going to be totally shocked and calcifreezed when this backfires horribly, as tends to happen when you put people with visual and cognitive impairments in charge of managing visual data.
Yeah, like, in most jobs, I'm pretty sure that sight is a freaking requirement. Not only that, but in jobs where you have other people's lives on the line, and you want somebody who can't see or who has mental impairments, like, these people were asking for something terrible to happen.
I mean, not saying that blind people can't be productive members of society or anything.
Yeah,
but
they can have jobs, but just like there are jobs that require you to be able to freaking see.
Yeah, and a huge part of air traffic control is processing the visual data of what the aircraft is doing, and then making the executive cognitive decision as to what do we do as a result of this visual information. So people with both learning and visual impairments probably shouldn't be doing this job, considering that they neither can see nor can they compute the things they would see if they could see.
Yeah, it's like a firefighter rushing up to a burning house to put it out, and the tenant running out, pointing at the firefighter and telling him that it's all his fault.
It's like a firefighter being obligated because of some management shtick to show up to a burning building with matches and a lighter rather than a hose.
Kind of crazy. Maybe we shouldn't actually have blind, retarded air traffic controllers. And they fired some of them. Yes, first of all, this is a huge dub. Why the fuck are my taxpayer dollars funding blind air traffic controllers, for the love of God? I already covered that in a previous video also. If you want to look at that, that's definitely also funny. So definitely look into that. People were really upset that they were firing the blind air traffic controllers. But the craziest shit is, I'm not even kidding. She spends the entire segment about a plane crash that happened in Canada, talking about how Trump caused it because of the FAA something.
As part of Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Oh, yeah, it was Elon Musk. Elon Musk.
Yes, making institutions more efficient is totally the ones responsible for the inefficiencies of institutions. Okay. That again, we're literally this is fucking Wonderland. I am basically the Cheshire Cat, folks, because apparently we are in Wonderland now. Up is down, left is right, and making things more efficient will make them less efficient somehow.
All right, so
Musk did it, guys. Hundreds of this, roughly this, all these stats that are completely irrelevant. I'm surprised she didn't show us like an extra stat here for the amount of gay, lesbian, and transgender tap dancing classes that were canceled in Cambodia. Because I would have included that as well.
All the federal agencies, and then beyond the FAA, we have 10% of the CDC workforce, 3,400 at the U.S. Forest Service, 2,200 at the Interior Department, 2,000 at the Department of Energy, 1,000.
And we are getting increasingly off the topic of this thing that happened as a result of Canadian institutional biases, if anything.
Yeah, or corporate or bad corporate hiring practices by Delta Air.
Or literal corporate virtue signaling by Delta Air.
Yeah, so I know you want to somehow put this as Orange Man bad, but Orange Man literally not involved.
They are so desperate for anything they can pin on him, anything at all. They don't even stop to ask themselves the question: A, does this actually make him look good? Or B, are we just going to ruin our own credibility by trying to stick this donkey's tail onto Trump so fucking hard?
Speaking of Canada, real quick, did you see the Canadian hockey game against the U.S.?
I did not. I don't particularly follow hockey.
Well, this was actually very funny because while the American anthem was playing, the Canadians were booing the United States national anthem. So the American hockey players beat up the Canadian hockey players, and then they proceeded to beat the Canadian team 3-1.
I mean, there are things that would make an American sportsman more upset, but I can't think of any at the particular moment.
Yeah. So we fought their players and then beat them 3-1 in the game in Canada.
And I will remind you that Canada is rather known for their supremacy when it comes to hockey. So this is even more delicious because we're beating them at something that they are unilaterally and uniformly known for the world over.
Yeah. So it could have been just a friendly match, but they decided to insult our national anthem, so we had to embarrass them at their own game in their own town.
I mean, my dear Canadians, I hate to break this to you, but you really don't want to get into a pissing match with Americans in the arena of irreverence in the face of authority, because our entire fucking nation is founded upon, oh, we're being charged 2% more for tea? Well, fuck your tea, England, and in fact, fuck this whole colonial system in and of itself. We're seceding because you charged us 2% more for tea. God damn it.
Listen. So far, if you kind of look at how Americans, Trump voters.
I love how she's trying to come up with words in the human English language to put together to make a sentence that's coherent, but she can't because it's retarded.
Particularly are reacting.
It's Elon Musk's Tesla weather alternator. That's the reason why it flipped over.
So far, this is something that they haven't really been affected by. You do hear from some GOP senators who are in some of these states where they're, public parks, for instance, raising some alarms.
Raising alarms that people are fired from the FAA. Dog, there was a plane crashing. Imagine being this fucking brain rotted that you're going to use a tragedy in another country to find a reason to shit on Trump for some insane way. Dog, do they know they're talking bullshit, or are they so actual audience captured that they feel like tying everything to Trump is a good move?
But so far,
I'd say yes, and they are both brain rotted and desperate because they've been so handily one-shotted for the last month or so.
The thing is, if they were actually smart, they would look at the polls and see that Trump is positive and at least try to not do the same tactics that cause them to lose the freaking election. They would at least learn
but their entire worldview is based on the idea that they are the arbiters of moral legitimacy. So they can't forego that premise because it is the load-bearing linchpin of their entire worldview. It's just like you could very easily tell quote-unquote woke or diverse stories that had actual merit to them and actual in-universe logic that made sense. But a load-bearing linchpin of the woke worldview is that meritocracy is a harmful delusion that we have to deprogram people from, and so they can't even take the circumstantial win of let's tell diverse stories that actually have merit, because that would be a sin against their ideology.
Yeah. And there's like a lot of great stories with diverse characters that came out uh, like previously, like before all this woke nonsense got involved, and like a lot of people like those shows and those characters. It's just like your execution and the fact that you put your ideology first is just so awful that instead of attracting people to the thing that you're trying to promote, it just repels them.
Yeah, and there are still good diverse stories being told even now. They're just not told by people who believe that meritocracy is a harmful delusion that people need to be deprogrammed from, because as it turns out, meritocracy is kind of important to making something good.
Let's finish up this last bit here.
Because they are
Yep.
directed at federal workers who
What
the
the
right
fuck?
has been expert at demonizing.
The right's not demonizing federal workers, bro. The right doesn't want blind, retarded.
Like, no one's demonizing federal workers. We're just saying you're fired. Go find another job.
Also, if we're allowed to criticize people for publicly demonizing people, I must provide the mirror and ask, what exactly is it that you are doing right now, oh vaunted establishment journalist?
Like, even if there are fewer workers, you don't just keep incompetent people or people that are just not working and just keep paying them. Like,
Yeah, you fire people who are not doing their jobs well in the hopes that the people who are doing their jobs well can function better now that they're no longer having to carry around the dead weight that is the people who aren't doing their jobs well.
if you really need more people, then you hire more competent people.
But again, competency is a harmful delusion that we have to deprogram people from, is a load-bearing linchpin in these people's worldview. So they will double down on that even to their own detriment, because it is the central holy tenet of their secular religion here.
Yes, if you're concerned about diversity in air traffic controllers, I am banning you from the conversation because that is so ridiculously stupid that you shouldn't even be allowed to have a voice in that conversation. It should be about competency first because people's freaking lives are on the line.
It should be about competency first in just about everything, because competency tends to have, good results and likable results and results that don't make people immediately want to shun and shame you.
Yeah. But like in this particular field, there is no margin of error that you can afford to have less competent people.
One wonders why you
Probably
even
every-
want less competent people in the fucking first place, though. Like, why is this the hill you all want to have other people die on, apparently? Like, why is... No, we will not let the poison of competency and meritocracy in through the gate. The battle cry of your particular Helm's Deep situation here.
Because with these people, like even if they believe that something bad might happen, they never believe they're the ones who are going to have to pay that price.
Until they have swords in their guts. So, gentlemen, to your swords, I suppose, is the result there.
Do you realize on the FAA list, it said that they had to hire 10% of their employees are either blind or retarded? That's on their website, lady. This
It's
isn't
not
like
both,
the
yeah.
right-wing people are vilifying people for some reason. Dog.
As lazy, as working from home, as costing too much.
I don't understand.
No one mentioned any of this.
Also, a lot of people are lazy and working from home. Like there was I believe it was a post from this woman who works for the government who says that because she didn't have any meetings, she was still wearing her pajamas while working from home, and then because she found out later that day that she did have a meeting, she just threw on a hoodie. Like
Also,
these people are lazing around. Jesus.
also I'm not even gonna co-sign the idea that you can't work from home and also be competent, because there is so much corporate institutional bloat in the modern day office environment. In a world where Zoom calls can exist and remote working can exist and has existed at least since COVID, we do actually need to have a meaningful conversation of, does this unnecessary cubicle hell have to be a thing when
I mean,
both the quality of work and people's quality of life goes up when we let them not be slaves to the corporate clock for 5 fucking minutes?
like I believe that the cubicle stuff is bullshit, but like there's been shown like where a lot of people work from home, they get less productive because they're more easily distracted by the stuff in their home.
Well, and those people should be fired and replaced with people who can work from home competently. But it's not working from home as a premise fault. It's the fault of people who probably weren't all that productive in the office environment either, let's be honest, considering how many people will be playing video games on their computer the second their boss isn't looking in the cubicle hell. Which to some extent I don't even blame them for, because cubicle hell is not a human conducive environment in the fucking first place. But let's be real here, the very same people who aren't good at working from home are also probably not good at working in the office environment either.
Yeah, but I also heard that there was a large portion of government employees who were not showing up for work um, um, full time during the week, and yet still getting paid full salary.
Okay, again, I hate to be a broken record here, but this sounds like a skill issue on the institutional scale. The corporations are bureaucratic idiots just like everyone else. Who the fuck knew? Oh, wait, everyone does, because everyone knows, apart from Dev, that institutionalism is not your friend.
Yeah, and so we're paying these people from the tax dollar, from the taxpayers' dollar, to basically stay at home 3 days out of the week and then just occasionally come into work, which is ridiculous. And also, that just shows that if these people are only coming in like 2 days a week, then we really don't need them to run the government. And if there are jobs that need to be filled, then those probably can be filled by part timers.
Or people who actually can do the work we pay them for in something resembling an efficient time scale.
So yeah, like they're just all these people in the media and on the left just defending people who are robbing you blind. And also, hilariously enough, that if we cut out a lot of this bullshit, we might be able to actually afford that universal health care that they keep moaning on and on about, but never call the Democrats out for not implementing.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of the people defending all this bureaucratic bloat are defending it specifically because it's an institutional norm, which tells me that they're the very same people who are probably taking money out of the corporate and or government till when no one is looking. Like that, like there are some pretty hard telling on yourself parts of history, but defending government bloat because government bloat and taking money off the top is normal is a pretty drastic way of telling on yourself without telling on yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah, and apparently we're also giving money to a lot of these international NGOs that actually help people like from foreign countries like sneak across the southern border. We're actually funding our own destruction.
Let alone the times when we're just straight up funding other people's governments. Cough, cough, BBC, cough.
Yeah. And so like you cannot get mad at the American people for wanting like all of this waste gone because we are spending exorbitant amounts of money and receiving no benefit. In fact, we're actually being harmed by a lot of it.
Or if not gone, at least transparent. If you think what you're doing is moral and good, why are you against telling people that you're doing it?
Yeah, also, people complain about they're not big enough transparency with Elon Musk and Doge, and there's far more transparency there because they publish like their work. They publish what they do, and Elon does interviews about it quite a bit. So like,
Not
there's
to
far more
mention that he owns a social media platform and literally makes use of the very same social media platform that he owns.
Yeah. So there's far more transparency with Doge than there were in all the government agencies that they're, trying to audit and look into. And I believe that they're going to look into the IRS next, which would just be amazing. Like, I can't even imagine the kind of corruption that exists in the IRS.
Yeah, can we talk about how it might be good just to get rid of the damn thing? Like a lot of these institutions were founded for a purpose that they are no longer even doing. The FBI, the CIA, the IRS, etc. They were founded at a time when more oversight and more bureaucracy was necessary because the tools to convey information weren't as efficient as they are now. But they are more efficient than they were in 1940, 1950, 1930, etc. So why don't we downsize them accordingly so that we're making proper, efficient use of our resources? Or, in the case of places like the FBI, either have them do the modern equivalent of what they were originally founded to do. They were originally founded to act as a counterweight to the mob. So the modern day equivalent of that would be acting as a counterweight to the cartels. So either have the FBI do the modern equivalent of the thing it was founded to do, or get the fuck rid of it because its mandate expired decades ago.
All right, we're about ready to wrap up. Do you have any last words about the plane crash?
I mean, the plane literally flipping upside down is a perfect encapsulation of this. It is, we are literally living in upside down world, folks. And the people trying to return us to an upright position, which is also funny given, airplane, the people trying to return us to an upright position are being demonized by the people who seem to think there's nothing wrong with the plane being upside down, as long as Orange Man isn't involved.
Yeah. I just want to say that I don't believe that these people actually do care about the plane crash because if they did, they would try to find the reason why it actually occurred and make sure that it doesn't happen again. Instead of
They're
just
just
using it as
desperate for a win against Trump because they've been taking lick after lick for a month solid now.
Exactly. And so, unless people actually focus on why it happened, issues never going to get solved. All right. So, I've been Mystery.
I've been Dalton Mortimer, the Authenticator. We have been the Duality of Man. Populism good, efficiency good, and we will see y'all next time. Cheers, guys.
Yes. And next time will be our 100th episode, actually.
Jeez.
Yep.
It feels simultaneously like we've been doing this a lot longer, and yet also like we've not been doing it for any time at all. Shit.
Yep. So, episode 100 is next time.
Hopefully something good will happen that we can celebrate come 100 episodes.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Cheers, guys.